Many of my videos over the years have been about the benefits of meditation, and anyone that's remotely serious about awakening, about gaining cosmic consciousness, cosmic wisdom, about expanding their consciousness, about increasing their holistic health, about having mastery and control over your own ego, about freeing up your mind so you decide what you want to think about rather than the ego taking control and just constantly turning out shit, which can very often traumatize you. At the very least, just destroys your quality of life, because it never allows you to be at peace. It's always telling you some shit, and it's always saying, oh, I know what this is, I know what that is, and it's always got its opinions, it's always got its biases. It's full of shit. The ego is completely full of shit, people. If you want to experience what life would be like without the ego grabbing hold of the helm, you have to learn to meditate. There is no other way. Now, meditation for many people isn't an easy thing, and the vast majority of people will give up having limited or no success because they don't have the tenacity, they are not prepared to put in the time, they think that they'll never do it, and they don't have the constitution. They just give up because they're weak-minded people. The ego is too strong. The ego will fight tooth and nail. Ladies and gentlemen, the ego doesn't want you to meditate. And I've said to you in the previous video, the ego is an entity unto itself. It really is a spirit or collection of spirits unto themselves. And they have no interest in your higher self. They have no interest in your body. They have no interest in your well-being, the body. They're just interested in keeping whatever suits them alive, or it. And it will tell you, don't bother doing that, don't bother doing that, don't talk to that person, don't do this, don't do that, do this, be afraid, you know, listen to me, oh goodness me, it's going to keep talking incessant shit to you forever unless you take mastery of it. Taking mastery of it isn't easy, but there are ways in which you can get a serious helping hand with that. Now, one of the things that I took, you know, for a few years in my life, as a supplement, a legal supplement, perfectly legal in America, by the way, most states. You can just buy it over the counter. They've actually got kratom shops, like coffee shops. In the UK and in Europe, they've been trying to ban it because it's psychoactive, and they don't want you to take mastery over your ego. They want you to retain their property. They want you just to listen to them, just to listen to telly, just to listen to the radio, just to listen to the news. That's what they want. And so that's why they endeavour to ban these things. In the UK, they made machinations to ban it, and people started campaigns to sign what do you call it, if you're contesting, if you to sign fucking something anyway, that you don't want the government to do that, because it's your right to take plant medicines. It's just a leaf, god damn it. And they've got no right to control our psyche, but they're always gonna try. They've got no right to tell us we can't consume mushrooms that just grow in a field next to where you live. They've got no right to tell you that you can't take acid, DMT, heroin, or any fucking thing. They've got no right, have they? In actual fact, look at this. They don't put you in prison for taking heroin or crack cocaine or anything like that. But they would, or they supposed to have the right to, because the law permits them to do that, to put you in prison if you take a Class A or Class 1 illegal substance like psilocybin mushrooms. Can you believe it? They like to retain the right to be able to take away your liberty, to ruin your whole life if you decide that you want to experience something else of your consciousness, something else of cosmic consciousness, if you want to get close to nature by taking these mushrooms. That's what they want to do. So you can see how extremely important your mind is to the world governments. Now, bearing that in mind, you might just want to give it a little bit more respect. And you might want to try to find these states of consciousness which intelligent, spiritual, religious people have been speaking about for thousands of years. The whole of Jesus' rhetoric was about meditation. Go into your closet, close your eyes and pray. Go into your closet, close your eyes. You go to a meditation, because in a meditation, that's where you find the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is truly within you, each and every one of you. And when you find the kingdom of God within you, find it without. And that's because God is a state of mind, ladies and gentlemen. But good God, how the brainwashing has been so powerful over the masses. And as soon as they hear something like that, they just do not or will not accept it. Some of you, however, do. You know the power of it. Now, all the stuff I've read for many, many years, and in recent times, I've just finished off the second coming of Christ. It's very, very apparent that that's what Jesus was preaching. But the way the New Testament's been written, it's obscured that. Because the church doesn't want you to find the kingdom of God in your own consciousness. It wants you to find their God in your imagination, in their dogma. That's where all religions want you to find God, in their dogma. Fuck their dogma, right? Forget all about that bullshit. Sit down, close your eyes and shut the fuck up. You'll find God, you'll find the nature of the cosmos, and you'll become hugely intuitive. You will know all things without ever having to learn anything. You will have a priori knowledge, which means you don't have to experience it, because you've already experienced it in a myriad of other life sojourns. Now, meditation. I've been doing meditation for 15 years, and varying with the amount of hours I do throughout the years, and but every single day I will go into my closet. Now, what I've been doing for many years during the winter months, when just sitting down in the chair, freezing cold probably, or you got loads of clothes on because you don't want the stuffy heating on, and it's not ideal. So what I do is I go under my sleeping bag on the couch, I put my headset on, and I listen to music like this. You hearing that, people? That music is 432 Hertz. 432 Hertz is the theta brainwave. Our everyday consciousness is in the beta. Then we go down when we're a little bit drowsy, hypnotized, staring at the telly, into the alpha. Then under hypnosis we go into the theta. Then down from theta is delta, which is full sleep. That's when you are completely asleep. Now, when you listen to 432 Hertz, the music transforms your brainwaves. It brings your brainwaves down into a confluence where your mind meets with the resonance of the music. It can't keep fighting against the resonance of the music forever. It has to give up at some stage. And so I've just recently introduced a friend of mine to this variety of music because she suffers from anxiety to a great extent, and her mind's all over the place and it never lets her rest. At this particular time, it's a stressful time during her life because she's going through lots of changes. But prior to all these changes going on, she used to be able to meditate for an hour and have the greatest benefits of it, and to see all different sorts of visions absolutely crystal clear, like landscapes and things like that. You can actually do this, people. When your mind is settled, you will see landscapes absolutely crystal clear, as if your eyes are open and looking at them. So listening to this music will eventually, if you've got a very stubborn ego, your ego will give up. It can't keep on with the chatter when you've got this music coming in the headset in both ears, and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, at some stage it's going to have to give up. When it gives up, then your mind will benefit from the replenishing that the 432 hertz gives it. It wipes everything clear from the whole day, from the whole week. It wipes everything clear. It wipes all the stress, and you're left with the tabula rasa. You're left with a blank slate. You come out of the meditation. It's like a mini sleep. It's not a deep sleep, but it's a sleeping for 432 hertz, slipping into delta intermittently. And when you come out of that, it's kind of like, wow, you've had 8 hours sleep. Now, the benefits of that are absolutely huge. And throughout these 15, 16 years that I've been meditating, listening to these sort of musics, I've always requested to my higher self that I increase the capacity of my consciousness. And I have done that. And Lord knows you would have heard about it in my videos, because I'm always telling you what is capable, what you too can do. You can actually get away from your living hell. How many of you tell me you're in a living hell? How many of you seem so desperate, and you seem so crippled and so destroyed, and you don't seem to think there's any hope? Because you just give up too easy, evidently. It must be that you give up too easy. Because if you did this every single day, if you said to yourself, I am going to crush you, I am going to destroy you, ego, I am actually setting out now to bury you, and I'm going to be doing this every fucking day, at least for 1 hour every day. And even if you go to sleep with this headset in, this music, you can have these varieties on YouTube for 32 hertz. You can have these for like a whole 8 hours, so you can sleep through the whole lot. And you'll be transformed by these brain waves flowing through your mind. Now, many years ago, I had an experience whereby I was in the meditation by a beautiful little pond in a park on a warm spring day, and I was sitting on a tree stump, and the sun was on my face. And after about 20 minutes, I saw absolutely crystal clear, in Technicolor, cartoons. I saw like pink trees with like orange bananas hanging from the pink trees. And every one of these bananas had like an icing smiley face, like you see on kids' biscuits or cakes, and they're all really, really happy. And then things like this would happen. A couple of the bananas would just fall down from the tree, and then when they hit the floor, it'll be like a mini firework display. And as the firework exploded and all the sparks came back down, there'd all be tiny little creatures, and they'd run away giggling, hee hee, and all this different sort of thing. Then all of a sudden you'll see an acrobat coming in from nowhere, and every time he jumps and turns around, around, it's like a kaleidoscope of all different wonderful things happen. And I can only describe this mindset as like Looney Tunes, the cartoons where everything is zany, everything's crazy. And if you picture it, it's going super fast like this, and you're looking at it and you can't work any of it out, but it's got a beautiful feeling to it. It's gorgeous, it's so jovial, it's so loving, it's so playful, it's absolutely amazing, incredible. And I can't imagine how my mind creates that, or I enter into that portal, because nobody I've ever met and mentioned this to has experienced that. And I remember making a video, some of you remember, I've been speaking about the gingerbread men. Like gingerbread men running along with the icing faces, and it's kind of similar to what Terence McKenna speaks about whilst taking DMT, when he saw these Fabergé egg type machine elves, which were all super playful and doing all different sorts of things and transforming into all different sorts of things all the time. Yes, that's what I see when sometimes I'm in meditation, but almost every single time when I wake up from this 432 hertz, you see what happens is my natural body's response, it goes into a meditation, and the meditation for me is 50 minutes to an hour. Now, if you listen to people speaking about meditation, those who have done it for a long time, they'll tell you that generally you'll have a meditation for however many years old you are. And so mine, of course, 61, well, I'll often do an hour. I'll invariably never do more than an hour. I will just wake up completely refreshed after 60 minutes, but usually it's between 50 and 60 minutes. And at the final minutes, my consciousness coming back online, I see in my mind these beautiful colour, playful characters, and it's such a dream, it's such a pleasure, it's such a joy. I can't even begin to tell you that to live in that world you'd want for nothing, forever and ever and ever. So what I'm saying to you people, when Jesus speaks about the kingdom of God being within you, I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt that it is. And you will discover your particular kingdom of God. You may have a whole different variety of stuff going on. Like my friend who I went walking with today, she said that she only ever sees crystal clear landscapes like Constable had painted them. You know, the ancient, well, the 1700s painter of landscapes. Beautiful depictions of the English countryside. That's what she gets, and I've also had them. And I've also had like a flat screen television. Looking at the flat screen television, absolutely crystal clear, just as clear as everyday life, if not clearer. And there's something on it, and it's like landscapes usually, and it's mountains and trees and waterfalls, and you can actually know you are fully conscious at the time, and you can see that, and you go, what the fuck? What the fuck? Now people, I have aphantasia. Aphantasia is supposed to be something that about 5% of the populace have, but I wouldn't be sure about that because there's very little research been done into it. But what aphantasiasts have or don't have is visions in their mind's eye. Under normal circumstances, if I close my eyes in a meditation, I'm sitting like this, I will never ever be able to see anything. And for many years people have said to me, and I've read things, and they say close your eyes and picture a rose, picture an apple, picture a banana, and people go, oh yeah, and then they say turn it around, do this and do that, and they'll go, oh yeah. And I always thought that it's just a metaphor, and I close my eyes and I'm like, I don't see nothing. I can imagine, like, I have Platonic ideas and forms. I can recall what bananas look like. All the bananas I've ever seen in my life, I can imagine what they are like. And then, of course, I can invent a billion other kind of bananas. I can invent, like, a banana which is 50 feet long, flying up to the fucking moon like a rocket. Or all these different sorts of things. I can think about all those things in my imagination, but I can't see nothing. But I dream in colour. Very often I dream in the absolute most technicolor, the most pristine colour. And on super cool occasions, my consciousness will come online. I will wake up in my sleep, and I will see something absolutely crystal clear, and I will know that the body is asleep, but now I, consciousness, am privy to this thing, and it's the most beautiful, incredible, clearest of bluest of skies, and it's wonderful. It's like heaven itself, and my consciousness, the inner me, I can see it. I can see this heaven and whatever else it's showing me, and I'm like, how is it that I can see that stuff in certain circumstances when I can't close my eyes and see anything? Picture an apple, picture a banana, picture a chair. Friends of mine go, oh yeah, and I'll go, what do you mean, oh yeah? Oh, look, you see this chair. What sort of chair is it then? Well, it's a chair like this, it's a chair like that, it's a chair like this, and a chair like that. And I'm like, are you telling me that you can actually see a fucking chair? And they're, yeah. And I'm like, wow. Then I learnt about aphantasia. I'm like, oh, that's why it is. Oh my God. But you see, we just assume that we're all the same and we have similar sort of thoughts and capabilities. But in actual fact, we're all very, very different people. Very, very different. And we all see our own world. Not a single two people see the same world, or even indeed the same thing. If there's 10 people sitting here looking at this computer and we are asked to describe the computer, our eyes will go around all different places. Like if we can follow where our eyeballs go, like computers can, then you can see that, some of us may just be concentrating around this, occasionally pick up here, but it's all about this, and then some maybe will be drawn to, the control button, this button, focus. We'll all be concentrating on different stuff, and we'll be creating different stuff in the mind's eye. And so it really is very, very fascinating. And so, if you have issues with anxiety, if you have issues with tension, with mental fuckery, then listen to these. Also, there's binaural beats. Binaural beats were invented by Robert Monroe of the Robert Monroe Institute, and Robert Monroe was the first person in the West to start writing about out-of-body experiences in the 70s. He was having out-of-body experiences and he thought he was going fucking insane, and sometimes he'd tentatively start to communicate this with his friends or family, and they're all like, what the fuck, you're fucking weird, you are. And so he got very reserved who he should actually speak to about this sort of stuff in case he got sectioned. So he started to investigate it, and then eventually he went to see doctors and psychiatrists and this, that and the other, and then eventually he was scouring the libraries and he found little bits here and there from the East, gurus talking about leaving the body and then maybe near-death experiences. In the 70s, people, nobody was talking about this stuff. But now it's common parlance, because we've got these gadgets, and we've got the world at our fingertips. And so if you are depressed, if you're anxious, I don't think it's the end. I really don't. I think you can take control over your destiny, over your mind, because it's your mind which evidently isn't yours. You think it's your mind. You think you own it. You don't. You don't own it. Nobody on the planet knows where our thoughts come from. They're just on free flow. But what we can do is we can change what flows in and what hangs around and what fucks with us. And I've been speaking about attachments. You know, do you have vampiric energy vampires? You know, attachments that are always giving you negative internal dialogues and, you know, fucking with you and this, that and the other. And again, these subjects I speak in my book. I speak about this stuff in my book. I speak about all my out-of-body experiences, my encounters with the supernatural and all different sorts of things. I just think with some tenacity, some level of desire, some knowledge that you can beat this thing we call the ego. It isn't master in our houses. And on my bookshelf, in the last video, I showed you a book of Ian McGilchrist. And he wrote this thick-ass book like this called The Master and Its Emissary. And what he's saying, it's about the left brain and the right brain, it's about higher self, it's about egoic consciousness, that and the other. And it's saying the ego thinks it's the fucking lord of the manor. So you have to put the ego in its place. Higher self, you have to have you have to have a relationship with the higher self. Most people don't even know they've got a higher self. They don't know how to get it. You get to it via meditation. You get to it via psychedelics. You get to it via supernatural experiences. Most people, they are trapped in prison by the ego. You are in an egoic prison, people. If you can't step outside of that with your thinking and look at the ego for the tiny little minuscule fucking operating system that it is, then you're still fast asleep. Fast asleep. And so there's portals to get outside of that. And there's things you should be watching, listening to, reading and practicing if you're seriously desire to do that, to expand your consciousness and to be at one with the kingdom of God. Because the kingdom of God truly is within us all. But we have to set this motherfucker of an ego aside before we can get there, before we can have a relationship with it, before we can appreciate it. And then when you can do that, you can set your ego aside anytime you want to, day or night. And whenever I meditate, I just sit down and the ego knows not to even begin to fuck with me. Because I'll go, ego, get the fuck out of my head right now. Right now, or I swear to God. Right? And it does. So we have to know. We have to show it. It's just an operating system. It's an operating system which is a free radical. It builds up energy and power and it becomes autonomous. It becomes like an egregore, people. An egregore is a thought form which makes manifest into something corporeal. Well, that's what our egos are. They're egregores. They're a super parody of themselves. They're an accentuated version of a thought form. They become a reality unto themselves. That's the ego. And 99% of the people operate completely 1000% under the ego. And you can just see it. And as soon as you start to talk to these people, you know who's talking. It's the ego who's talking. You know that Bruce Willis film, Look Who's Talking? Well, this is something along those lines. You can talk to people and you just know within an instant who is talking. You'll know when you meet a people, when you become awakened, when you become enlightened. You'll know within an instant who the fuck is talking. Whether pure spirit is talking to you, be them evil, be them malevolent or benevolent. There's all sorts out there, and many, many evil spirits and malevolent spirits come to Earth just to fuck with people, just to have that variety of experience. There's no doubt about that. From the very, very get-go, souls are evil. But you'll be able to know that. As soon as you start to speak with someone, you'll feel them, you'll feel it. And you'll know exactly where they're coming from. They can't hide. You see, evil can't hide. to an enlightened, wholesome shard of God consciousness, there's no hiding evil. You will know it in an instant. And then you make your mind up whether you want to deal with it in your own right, whatever you want to do, whether you want to tell it, whatever you want to tell it, or whether you just want to move on. And just, it will run its course, you know. And when I'm speaking about vampiric attachments, well, it's these free radical, evil, malevolent, not always evil and malevolent, just boisterous, just a variety of spirit that just wants to fuck with people. Let's just do this. Let's just see what happens. Ha 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 ha. This is a good game. Let's go and upset that guy over there. Let's go and upset that girl. Let's do this and let's get them arguing. Yeah, that's what they do. And when you become enlightened, or at least very awoken, you'll know within an instant when you've got one. You'll go, where the fuck did you come from? And you can even work out where they come from, people, because if you follow your tracks back, you'll go, oh, I caught it in that bar last night. There's a lot of very, very, very negative, bad, dull energy in that bar. And I've got an attachment. One of them has decided that it'd be fun to try and fuck with me. And so the spirit enters you momentarily. But they're not that powerful. You can get rid of them. You just tell them, bye, bye, be on your fucking way. Show's over, buddy. Show's over. You give them no energy, and you don't listen to the thoughts, and you most certainly don't carry the thoughts out. So all this stuff is really, really complex. It's really, really out there. It's really deep. It's really profound. But it's really fucking true as far as truth goes. And when you start listening to the metaphors of evil, devil, Satan, and God, and all this, well, you know, that's an idea of a religion. But all religions have had demons, and all the religions in the Middle East, they call them jinns, you know, like genies, that sort of thing. These evil spirits, even in the African plains, all over the world, they speak about evil spirits here, evil spirits there, good spirits and bad spirits. Spirits is spirits, people, and that's what this thing is. And in this book, let me just read you an excerpt of this book, right? This will fuck you. This will fuck you up. In actual fact, it will enlighten you. Right then, let me just show you. Let me just fold this page in, so I don't lose where I am. But there's nothing to be scared of, people, because you've been living with this shit all your lives. It's just that you haven't known about it, and it's just that you don't know how to deal with them or how to recognise this stuff. People just think, oh, it's personality. Oh, you know, I'm angry and I'm fed up because my boss, this and that. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with the attachments that you've got, people. Spirits. Right. This book here, The Ego and His Own. The Ego and His Own. Right. This bit. That's all. That's all right. Man. Your head is haunted. You have wheels in your head. You imagine great things and depict to yourself a whole world of gods that has an existence for you, a spirit realm to which you suppose yourself to be called, an ideal that beckons to you. You have a fixed idea. Now, it isn't the easiest book to read, people, because it was written a long time ago, written in a different language, and so the translation maybe hasn't been that well thought out, or, you know, how it was actually written is kind of like in an old way. You know, in some books, they wrote in a colloquial sort of way, which will be understood in certain realms without thinking that their book's going to go global, you know, and so they must simplify it. Now, do not think that I am jesting or speaking figuratively when I regard those persons who cling to the higher, and because the vast majority belongs under this head, almost the whole world of men, as veritable fools in a madhouse. Now, when it says here, cling to the higher state of consciousness, that which we really are, not the ego. What is it then that is called a fixed idea? an idea that has subjected the man to itself. When you recognize, with regard to such a fixed idea, that it is a folly, you shut its slave up in an asylum. So when you recognize, with regard to such a fixed idea, an idea in your head that you think is concrete, that you think is real, and maybe not necessarily conducive to your life, but when you recognize that, then you lock it up in an asylum. And is the truth of the faith, say, which are not to doubt the majesty of, e.g., the people, which are not to strike at. He who does is guilty of less majesty, whatever that means. Virtue against which the censor is not to let a word pass, that morality may be kept pure, etc. Are these not fixed ideas? Is not all the stupid chatter, most of our newspapers, the babble of fools who suffer from the fixed idea of morality, legality, Christianity, etc., and only seem to go about free because the madhouse in which they walk takes in so broad a space? So they're saying all the shit in the tabloids, that telling you shit, and everybody's walking around like a fucking zombie thinking that that's the world because it's all the same. Everybody's minds are full of the same shit. Nobody stops to look at themselves and go, hang on, what's in my mind? What's in that paper? What's going on? It's all propaganda. Our minds are being programmed and we're thinking this and we're thinking that. And so it's a difficult read, people. You know, I can only get through 2 or 3 pages of this a day, and I'm like, fuck, I've got to think about it. I've got to read it over and over again. Touch the fixed idea of such a fool, and you will at once have to guard your back against the lunatic's stealthy malice. Now, hear this, it's important. Touch the fixed idea of such a fool, and you will at once have to guard your back against the lunatic's stealthy malice. If you bring to the attention the stupid thought of a colleague or family member, if you point out, why are you thinking that? That's wrong. The ego is going to go, fuck you. Who do you fucking think you are? I know what's fucking right, and I know this, and I know that, and I know something else. Because they've got no idea they're under the influence of a hypnotist, on mass proportions, propaganda, fucking telly. They think they know something from listening to telly, from reading the newspaper. They've just been hypnotized. They've been programmed. They are fools. You see? Now this book, he's written 150 years ago, something like this, people. So get things in perspective here. For these great lunatics are like the little so-called lunatics in this point too. That they assail by stealth him who touches their fixed idea. So they assail by stealth. They will be conniving to bring you down. When you've made someone feel stupid by pointing out their stupid thoughts or actions, well, they want vengeance, and don't they? And they're always looking for ha 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 ha. And I've had it 1,000 times on my channel when I've been berating my viewers for being dead and soulless and idiots and this, that and the other. As soon as one person says something in the comments, then all the people that have never ever commented, never ever put a thumb up in their lives, all are thumbing up that comment. Ha ha ha. He's telling out. Ha ha ha. Weak, cowardice, cretinous fucking fools. And so, I can bring them all out. I bring motherfuckers out by putting videos. I'm an angler, and I'm always telling you that. I'm standing on the shore, and I've got a fishing rod with varying lures. I use a whole multitude of lures to catch whatever fucking variety of sea monster is out there. And I cast out my lure, and I'm slowly bringing it in. And then I will catch certain creatures. So different videos touch different people. I can see from reading between the lines who I'm dealing with. because I'm a psychoanalytical person, people. They assail by stealth who touches their fixed idea. They first steal his weapon, steal free speech from him, and then they fall upon him with their nails. So you see how it's written. It's written old fucking school, people. They first steal his weapon. In the days when you'd carry a sword or a gun, you know, and you'd have duels out on the public fucking park. Steal free speech from him, close him down so he can't even speak freely, and then they will fall upon him with their nails. Fall upon him, you know, they attack with their nails. It's a metaphor, but they're going to be doing something stealthy shit, it said, didn't it, before? Because the cowards. Every day now lays bare the cowardice and vindictiveness of these maniacs, and the stupid populace hurrahs for their crazy measures. One must read the journals of this period and must hear the Philistines talk. Philistines are, you know, certain peoples from the Bible who had no gods. They were Philistines. They were well, they never had any God. They never had any truth. They never had any code of ethics, anything like that. They didn't believe in anything. Philistines. And must hear the Philistines talk to get the horrible conviction that one is shut up in a house with fools. Thou shalt not call thy brother a fool if thou dost, etc. But I do not fear the curse, and I say, my brothers are arch fools. Whether a poor fool of the insane asylum is possessed by the fancy that he is God the Father, Emperor of Japan, the Holy Spirit, etc., or whether a citizen in comfortable circumstances conceives that it is his mission to be a good Christian, a faithful Protestant, a loyal citizen, a virtuous man, etc. Both these are one and the same fixed idea. Now, he's saying, look, people, whether you're a Christian, whether you're an atheist, whatever you are, you have fixed ideas. You have programs. That's what it means. You've been programmed. You've been programmed by the fucking Catholics, by the Protestants, by the newspaper companies, by the radio, by the television, by fucking social media, whatever. You've been programmed into having fixed ideas. I know this and I know that. That's wrong and this is right. And I'm a liberalist and I'm a leftist and I'm for MAGA and you're for fucking Hillary and all this shit. Fucking what? It's a madhouse. It's a complete and utter fucking shitfest, people. And none of it is of any importance at all. It's just a fucking game of charades. And they're vying for your power, your energy. Don't even get involved in it. If you've got limited time and energy, don't even get involved in that. And people used to say to me that they're watching the news every morning because they want to know what's going on in the world. And I'm like, what's going on in the world? There's 194 fucking countries on the planet, cunt. And you think you're going to know what's going on in the world by listening to fucking CNN talking about their fucking local war or their latest war? Or you think you know what's going on in the world? What sort of cunt are you? And then this friend of mine, he was a grown man, but he looked like he was going to fucking cry. Because he had a realisation, he had a good stiff talking to by somebody who he respected to be of higher intellectual prowess. And I said that to him, I asked him that. The fuck do you think you're learning about the fucking world? If you want to know about the world, fucking subscribe to National Geographic, you fucking retard. Or get on a plane and fucking go and look at it yourself. Both these are one and the same fixed idea. He who has never tried and dared not to be a good Christian, a faithful Protestant, a virtuous man, is possessed and repossessed by faith, virtuousness, etc. Just as the schoolmen philosophized only inside the belief of the church, as Pope Benedict the 14th wrote fact books inside the papist superstition without ever throwing a doubt upon his belief, as authors fill whole folios on the state without calling into question the fixed idea of the state itself. As our newspapers are crammed with politics because they are conjured into the fancy that man was created to be a Zune politician. I don't know what a Zune politician means. Again, it's obviously colloquial stuff. So also subjects vegetate in subjection, virtuous people in virtue, liberals in humanity, etc., without ever putting to these fixed ideas of theirs the searching knife of criticism. You see, people can think they're so virtuous, they can think they're Christian, they can think they're Islam is, oh, fucking pray to Allah, or peace be upon you, Muhammad, and they think they're all righteous in their programming, but they're full of shit. It's complete fucking shit. They're completely hypnotized, aren't they? Filled with dogma. Undislodgeable, like a madman's delusion. Those thoughts stand on a firm footing, and he who doubts them lays hands on the sacred. Yes, the fixed idea that is truly sacred to the full. So people, difficult to read this stuff, but how fucking true, how poignant. And just looking back through the times, you see, I like to read all these old books because I can see from the inception of all the idiocracy from the human being. And I've seen that throughout the ages, throughout millennia, authors have been speaking about the stupidity and the gullibility of the human being, of the idiot in the street. And they've never been any different. They never have been any different. They've always been programmable matter with their biases and their false beliefs, and they get angry when you point out some shit. And how many people do I see that subscribe to my videos and then they unsubscribe? Who unsubscribes from a channel, really? You subscribe to a channel and then you just fucking leave it forever, and you probably never even watch their videos again if they don't come up in your feed. You forget about them and that. Who actually, I'm gonna unsubscribe from this person? Who does that? Someone with a bee in their bonnet, someone who's been upset, someone whose ego's in a vengeful state, and say, I never ever want to have that person compromising my ego again. I'm going to unsubscribe to make sure I never get that person in my feed. You see, fools, they'll be attracted to certain videos. They'll enter into their feed and they'll go, what the fuck's this dude? And they'll go, oh great. And then they'll start, oh you're wonderful, oh your videos are great. I'm like, give it time, cunt. Give it time, cunt. By the time you've watched 50 of my videos, if you're still around, then there's some hope for you. But the vast majority of people don't make it to 50 videos because they've got their egoic, false, fucked up, cuntish beliefs. Just like that guy was saying. That's what they're full of, and they don't want compromising, they don't want changing. And this is what I'm always trying to say to you people. You know, I'm speaking to you because evidently I care, you know, to try to receive the lost sheep. I'm actually the good shepherd. I am actually a manifestation of Jesus Christ. The Christos. Jesus Christ wasn't his name, it's just an idea. The Christos, it's the juice we have within us, which raises up like the Kundalini and manifests in enlightenment, in spiritual enlightenment. I am the Christos, people. I know exactly what I'm speaking about. I know exactly about all this stuff that all these super gurus have ever fucking spoken about. I've experienced it, I've been there, I've done it. I am it, I embody it. And so I am the good shepherd, and I am speaking to you in this way, evidently because I care. Because I've been instructed to fucking care. Like, you're my children. You are children of the earth, and if you've come to watch my videos, Spirit has fucking sent you, right? And so Spirit sent you, you better fucking listen. But because Spirit sent you, then you evidently have some importance. Otherwise you wouldn't be here, because the people that couldn't comprehend what I'm saying, they're not ready for it, wouldn't be here. You're here. You have to think about that, people. You have to think very, very deeply and profoundly as to why you're here listening to these rants, listening to me speak to you as if you are fucking grasshoppers, you know, from the movie Kung Fu. Grasshopper, oh, the day you can take the stone from my hand, it's time for you to leave. Remember that bit? Fucking Google it. Kung Fu. Grasshopper in the Shaolin Temple with a bald-headed monk. He's standing there blind and he's got a pebble in his hand, and the young David Carradine, the Kung Fu guy, he's only fucking 10 years old, and he holds out this pebble and he says, "Grasshopper, when you can take this stone from my hand." You know, that bullshit. And then eventually, when David Carradine, you know, becomes a proper Shaolin Temple monk priest, all this fucking Kung Fu shit, he can snatch the stone out of the hand. Then it's time for him to leave. So I'm saying to you, the day that you can comprehend what I am saying from my core, then it's time for you to leave. And so, people, I have this energy. I have an energy, don't I? There's nobody that can watch me and say that this guy doesn't have energy. This guy isn't the fucking cosmos. He's got this power, this fucking cosmic knowing, this confidence, this assurity that he absolutely knows what the fuck he's talking about. Because I feel it in every single cell of my body, which is cosmic dust, cosmic consciousness. And so it's my job to impart this. And if humanity was at a level where it could receive the words I say, then millions and billions of people will be listening to my videos. But as it happens, they're not. Just like they weren't when Jesus was walking around the streets talking to 12 fucking disciples and a few mongrels in fucking dirty shawls and sandals. That was his audience, people, for 1.5 years. And so when you look back at Jesus' clout, well, it was nothing. It was minuscule. And the only reason now it's gone global is because the money machine, the power machine, got behind it and fabricated all the stuff he said, because he was telling the people, you are God. There are no gods out there. There are no devils out there. God and the devil and all the rest of that stuff are within you. What's you? Pure cosmic consciousness. You find your pure cosmic consciousness. You have a showdown with the devil like he did on the fucking Mount Zion. Fucking... It's all a metaphor, people. You know, he went out into the wilderness, didn't he? 40 days and 40 nights. Going into the wilderness, people, is going into meditation and fasting. So you fast, you empty the body, and you're in seclusion, and you're just drinking water, and you meditate. When you do that, then you're going to get all different sorts of stuff come to visit you. Let me tell you how that works. And if you want to know something more about it, then you need to buy my book and read that book and see what's going on. See what happens. Anyway, I've said enough. I've said enough because, to be fair, most of you people, you haven't travelled anything like the path that you need to be able to absorb what I'm saying to you. And so, by rights, you should really listen to this video 1, 2, 3 times and stop it and contemplate what actually is he saying here. You know, people do this with Jordan Peterson. Well, Jordan Peterson said this, Jordan Peterson said that. Ooh. Nobody's ever done it to any of my videos. Why? Because I've got 200 hits, I've got 20 hits, I've got 50 hits, and nobody gives a fuck. Because as far as they're concerned, it's not about what fucking wisdom you're speaking. It's about what viewers they can get by showing your face on their videos. And of course, Jordan Peterson is flavour of the fucking month. And Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson, you know, across the whole fucking world. Elon Musk has never, ever, 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 ever said anything remotely intellectual in his fucking life, from what I can gather. On the other hand, Jordan Peterson, every time he opens his mouth, it's pure fucking gold. Anyway, people, ran over. You see, when I'm reading from these books, you might get the impression that I am gleaning an enormous amount just from one paragraph. I can talk to you for hours on that one paragraph because it's so powerful. There's 140 fucking pages in here. And if every page is like that, which they invariably are, it's going to take some going through. But by the time I've gone through it, I'm going to be a different person. And if you take that on board, if that's what you want, if you want to expand your consciousness and you want to free your mind and you want to have self-realization, if you want to travel the journey to the self, people, that's what you have to do. You have to go on the hero's journey. And that's the journey I've been on. So, you might want to read about that in my book.